And when I went to high school, that's where things really exploded. Obviously, being in Standard 6 and you're like looking at these, they're basically women to you. You know what I mean? They're not kidding. All I did was draw a goatee on my face. That's all I did. You know, so that was it. You know, before you could grow facial hair.
I still have that problem.
Being in the public eye, obviously, I'm very aware of my movements and what I do and what I say, who I offend, who I don't offend, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Some you've got to give a crap about, and some you don't give a crap about. You never know what you do today could do something. So just be kind, man. When I went to high school, Standard 6, grade 8, that's where things really exploded. And I owe a big thank you to, I say it to her whenever I see her. In fact, she's coming to one of my shows again, as Mrs. Carol Howell. She was the head of music for Settlers High. And you had to go for an audition if you wanted to be in the school.
What a band, that school, man. That school and music.
My brother
talent,
and sister went there.
Did they?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. No, and it was probably one of the most kismet things that's ever happened to me to get to go to Settlers High, because they took everything that I didn't know I had and brought it to the surface in terms of culture, in terms of like
Isn't that the
leadership.
point of a school?
It's amazing. I owe them everything. And I've been back to the school a few times and they're still doing wonderful things.
But also the teacher before that, the one that paraded you around to everyone. I mean, we don't have, to be honest, man, we don't have a lot of educators out there anymore who do that.
Yeah.
You know, I had teachers like that. I remember coming off stage and had a teacher tell me, you're going to do something with music. You have a voice. You're definitely going to do this.
If you didn't hear that, like,
I'll never forget her.
Yeah, who's to know what would have happened
And
if they
she
didn't
still
take the time?
supports me today, you know.
You see?
Mrs. Gonzalez, I'll never forget her. Geraldine Gonzalez, amazing teacher, primary school teacher. And up till today, likes, posts, shares, super supportive.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need more of that. If there are any teachers out there, I mean, kids, you don't know what you say to a kid today, as little as it seems, as long as it's said with kindness, and with some form of love, you know, that you never know what they're going to take and move with from there.
And like you say, as little as it may seem to you, you know, to them it's huge, and they'll probably remember it forever.
Mm-hmm. You never know who you're influencing, and that goes for all of us. You know? I mean, being in the public eye, obviously, I'm very aware of my movements and what I do and what I say, who I offend, who I don't offend, and that sort of thing. Some you've got to give a crap about, and some you don't give a crap about. But you are very aware of it. But you don't. I think the general public out there don't know, like how much you do in a day, or the little things you say can affect someone with such catastrophic events, or can be such a magnificent, like, blooming process for whoever's gonna hear that. And it's vivid in my memory, the interview. I was nervous as hell. I knew I wasn't a good enough piano player. I knew I wasn't up to scratch, but for some reason, I got the interview to go in, and Settlers High is quite particular about who they bring in to take music as a subject. So it's not just, you could be in the groups and the bands and the social things, but to actually take it and study it, you really need to get through this qualifying process. And my theory was fine, and my oral was fine, and like hearing notes and singing notes and understanding was totally fine. And my general knowledge was, as she says, was like way beyond, because we spoke about pop music and cultural stuff.
And of course, she had the passion for it, so that's probably what led to that.
But the piano playing specifically was not good. As we all know, I was crazy about guitar. But somewhere in the meeting, she spoke about, is there anything else you play? And I said, yeah, guitar. And then I lit up. And cool. In her words, I'm paraphrasing it, but she said she saw that and went, okay, well, we've got jazz groups here, we've got school orchestras here, we've got the school musical, you could get involved. And that, like, I exploded out of my shell from there into that. It's my first taste of the high school now. Not having been there or experienced it. My parents obviously did the interviews on my behalf, and then this is the first thing I went to. She then called my primary school piano teacher, who was not very kind about what she said about my playing. As in, like, well, it's not going to be a thing for him. He likes it, but he doesn't have the staying power and the energy to go forward. And she made a judgment call. And I owe her. I think I'll owe her till the day we die. But, like, you know,
at the time, it must have been pretty hurtful, actually.
She spoke to my mom about it. My mom only kind of brought it up to me in later years when I was more mature enough to handle that.
Actually take it on,
yeah. My mom kind of takes on the burdens of the family. She's that woman. Yeah, she protects in that sense, you know. So I went in carefree, like, cool. I made it to the music program, right? But I was warned and told, you will have to work, because that's what was said to my mom, that Mark will need to make a turnaround and do a lot better than he's doing and commit a lot more to it. And I took that very seriously. But from the day I showed up at that school, I think 3 days into it, I had a friend, and he's a sound engineer, and he's a professional sound engineer. His name is Vaughan Walborough, and he was a much higher grade than me. But I'd met him in a music store, and he knew I could play, and we'd spoke music. And he came up to me, and now the older kid has come up to me and is going, "Hey man, welcome. What's going on? Nice to see you. Are you enjoying it? Like, cool. Don't go there. Stay in this alleyway, and we're going to go do this." And we always spoke about bands like Toto, like classic music bands, bands that were real musos.
Yeah.
So I got on well with Vaughan, and it's next thing you know, some of the matrics are coming to ask me, going like, "Oh, so you play guitar too? Oh, right, okay, cool." And one extremely good-looking girl at the time, obviously being in Standard 6, and you're like looking at these, they're basically women to you, you know what I mean? They're not kids. Comes up and goes like, and she was a South African cheerleader, not cheerleader, sorry, drum majorette.
Oh right.
I know her name was Karen. I can't remember her surname now, but she came up with her friends, and I was like starstruck. And they said, "Would you play something for us? Let's hear what you can do." And I was like, "Yes, ma'am. Whatever you say, no problem." And I play guitar. And then next thing you know, like at break time, it's like, "Mark, come sit by us, come and jam." So here's this kid coming to sit with the matrics, and it got me such cred amongst everyone else that it was, I didn't get the bullying thing was like always prevalent in my head from like grade 1, grade 2, and I was removed from it, but it's always a fear. And so it was like, I can just be cool. I can say what I want. I can be whatever, and I can be friends with all these different people. And my friendship circle just grew and grew and grew. And a lot of people have told me this, is that, I had some close circle friends, but I was able to kind of be friends with everyone, or at least know everyone, and be that. It's just kind of like setting me up for what my career is now. You have to be able to go everywhere, be in any group, be able to talk, no problem, and be friendly and open with everyone.
I must admit, I was kind of the same in the way that at high school I was kind of friends with everybody. I don't know, maybe that led to me going into the industry that I did as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely think it did, because I think I'm testament of that. That was like a blip on the radar to suddenly being like someone that everyone like knows and hangs out with. Maybe you're not like popular or anything like that, but you're at least known.
Yes.
And that's always like you don't want to categorize what a famous person looks like or that sort of thing, but that is definitely like you fall into that line. So you've got some form of influence on someone. Now, I didn't know this at the time.
Yeah.
When we fast forward a few years, I did a show not long ago, and a guy I hadn't seen in 20 odd years from high school showed up to see the show. I go and speak to him afterwards. He's raving about it, and it's all going well. And we're catching up a little bit on the years, and he introduces me to his new wife, and she goes, "Is this the guy?" And I'm like, "What guy? What are you talking about?" And I get told that I actually need to thank you. And I go, "For what?" And he says, "You were very influential on me." And I said, "In what way?" And I was in one of the many various musical teams and groups I was in high school. Was one of them was a cadet band, a marching band, and cadets had fallen away at that point because conscription had fallen away. But the marching band still stood. So we were crossover. We wouldn't just do military stuff. We would also do carnival stuff. So we would dress up in carnival outfits and that. But I played side drummer. I was the lead side drummer. So it was my job to take on new students that would come in and teach them how to play. So teaching the basics, the right, left, the paradiddles and the moves. We do all these like strict moves. Kind of like, it's not as cool as drumline in America, but it's along those lines.
It's that type of feel.
And four beats and that.
Yeah, and he himself took that to heart and now plays drums and enjoys it and is in a band. He doesn't live in South Africa anymore, but he's jamming out there. And I'm going like, that is incredible. Yeah. So again, to my point of like, you never know what you do today could do something. So just be kind, man. Like be cool and just try and help wherever possible. And Settlers did that for me. They opened up the channels. They made me realize who I actually am. At no point was I singing here. At no point. It was guitar. Yeah. Every photo of me in that school is me with a guitar. Every talk about me was Mark, the solo guy. We had a dress-up day at school one day. I came as Eric Clapton. And all I did was draw a goatee on my face. That's all I did. So that was it. Before you could grow facial hair. And
I still have that problem.
Yeah. and that was me. From there on out, my parents wouldn't allow me to be in a rock band of my own because my dad had run into some trouble in his youth, and my uncle from my mom's side, who influenced me into playing the guitar, also ran into a bit of trouble in terms of academics because the rock band obviously it's cool, man. It's rock and roll. Like,
Yeah.
there are girls there, there's booze there's all sorts of cool stuff going down, and like the party, man. Yeah.
Little Mark.
Yeah.
Little Mark.
Yeah.
It'll happen for you, I promise.
That was the conversation. They were very cool about it. They just said, like, look, until you've matriculated, until you've like gone through with it, then like no live gigs, no going out there, no going into the big bad world and that. So when everyone else had done, it must have been valedictory. Yeah, when valedictory was over, I had my very first band practice.